as always, Ted, kick us off. Who do you have as your winner of the week?
I'm going to go with a little bit off the beaten path here and go with Brian Kelly at Louisiana State University. Read some stuff on Brian Kelly down there and what he's done. Whenever he first took that job, I said, "Oh my God, this is terrible. This does not fit his style. Does not seem like the type of coach that the LSU fans are going to rally behind." And at least what it sounds like right now, I could not have been more wrong. It sounds like everyone has bought in with what he's done down there. Now, everyone wants to get back to what Saban instilled at LSU in the early 2000s, right? He came in there, changed the program around. And since then, they've had some success, there's no doubt, but it's been a disorganized, undisciplined football team the majority of those years. And there's been years that they've, obviously done really well, and then they've had dramatic fall off afterwards. They want more consistency. And whenever you hear people around it, more discipline, the program is far more organized. The accountability that Brian Kelly's bringing to the locker room is just like Saban whenever he was here. That's what people are saying. Whenever he took over the job, LSU had 39 guys on scholarship. He's taken it from 39 to 70 already and expects to be at the 84 number by August. Like that's adding a ton of guys. And, some of the players that are there that have been through the previous regime and kind of what went down are, like we've heard here, really embracing the organization, the details, the discipline, the focused atmosphere. So it sounds to me like Brian Kelly's got things on the right track. Now, does that mean it's going to turn into a really good season in year one? I doubt it. They've got a lot of holes to fill, but LSU, that place recruits and typically has good players showing up routinely. So sounds to me like Brian Kelly may have something there.
I know that Brian Kelly isn't for everyone, right? Nick Saban isn't for everyone.
That's right.
But there's no denying the fact that that guy has been a winner everywhere he's gone, right? Going back to what he did at Grand Valley State, right? Winning D2 national championships, and then Central Michigan, and then what he did at Cincinnati, and then becoming the all-time winningest coach at Notre Dame. Like, the guy, he may not win the press conference, but the guy can coach. Mm-hmm. And the guy can delegate as a CEO type head football coach. Like, LSU fans should be excited. Like, this guy he's one of the best coaches in college football. There's just no debating that. So the fact that he's come in there and established a little more discipline, made it a little more organized, right? He's also he's asked for a whole lot from that administration, and they're giving him everything he wants. So, yeah, I think LSU. Now, do I think LSU is going to win a national title or anything like that next year? Hell no, I don't. I think it's going to take him a while, but Brian Kelly is going to have access to talent that he has never had access to. And if he can get those guys, it's proven, he can put together good staffs. He can create winning culture. So I don't care if he says family weird. I don't care if he keeps doing those goofy dances for recruits. It all comes down to wins and losses as LSU's head coach. And there was a reason, Brian Kelly knew what was going to happen when he left Notre Dame to take the LSU job. Right. He knew how that was going to affect his legacy at Notre Dame. But he said, I got it. I can do it. I'm going to go win a national championship there. So,
yeah, it's interesting to see what he's going to be able to accomplish without the natural roadblocks that he had at Notre Dame, right?
Right.
So It's going to be interesting.
All right. Who do you have as your loser of the week?
I guess I've got to go with all of the baseball traditionalists out there, Gabe. They're under assault right now with some of the rule changes that have been going on. And now it looks like a pitch clock is coming. Minor League Baseball had it, and on average, 20 minutes a game were saved with the pitch clock. Major League Baseball looking to put in play the pitch clock in the 2023 season. Think about that. 20 minutes a game. Now you might think, 20 minutes a game, that's not that much. It's 20 minutes of game of someone that was standing there walking around the mound. Like, not commercial breaks, not anything else. A guy standing there with the ball, not pitching it. So I think it's awesome, but the baseball traditionalists, they hate change, Gabe. They hate it.
They do. There's no doubt they do. But I mean, this is a necessary change, right? I read about this in Axios Sports this morning, and they said that entering Tuesday, Major League games were lasting an average of 3 hours and 10 minutes. And you look at, what they did in the minor leagues with the pitch clock, that the average game time was 2 hours and 39 minutes. Like if you tell someone for whatever reason, the 3 hour mark, it causes something.
Yeah.
It's psychological, right? If you say, hey, you're going to a game, it's going to last over 3 hours. You're just like, oh my God. Be like, hey, you're going to a game, it's going to last 2 hours and 39 minutes. Like, okay. I don't like, for whatever reason, that 3 hour mark in my mind is like a massive difference.
Yeah.
So yeah, give me the pitch clock. I'm in it. I want it. Give it to me.
It's crazy though. Like just to think about that 20 minutes of time of a guy standing on the mound, like not doing anything, that you can easily speed up by adding a clock. And I don't think it's going to be someone standing out there, one of the umpires out in the field going to throw a flag and coming in whistling that he didn't get the pitch off in time. I think it's just going to be like a reminder. And if you're like flirting with not getting it off, it's going to be like, hey, better speed this up a little bit. So I don't think it's going to really impact the game at all, other than just moving the action along, which I would hope even the baseball traditionalists would be able to get on board with that.
Yeah. And if you're a baseball traditionalist that is like, analytics is ruining the game, like this is the worst, I do have some stats that can maybe help you make you feel better. So they did this in that you were talking about the minor leagues where they did the pitch clock. So in games, in the non-clock games, right, there was an average of 5.13 runs and 16.1 hits per game. The pitch clock games, 5.11 runs, 15.9 hits in the games on average. So it's really like the pitch clock isn't affecting the scoring essentially.
Right. Yeah, that's close. That's within the range of like nothing. It's not an effect on the game.
Right.
Which,
so,
people would tell you that, oh, well, it's part of it. You're trying to wear on the hitter. Well, statistically, it has not worked out like that. It's the exact same.
Yeah. And the way it'll work, it'll be a 14-second pitch clock when the bases are empty. And if there's someone on base, it'll be an 18-second pitch clock. So yeah, the pace of play is about to ramp up in Major League Baseball. And I think there are a lot of people that are excited about it, but yeah, the traditionalists, disgusted, absolutely disgusted. All right, let's get to my winner and loser. But first,
First Fidelity Bank is a full-service financial institution based in Oklahoma with tailored solutions for all of your personal and business needs, checking accounts, saving accounts, home loans, and much more. They do it all, whether it's online banking from your computer or mobile banking from your phone. Everything is stress-free with FFB. Making mobile deposits, paying bills online, and moving money to different accounts could not be easier. First Fidelity Bank provides free ATMs worldwide, making banking convenient wherever you are. They also give back to the community. FFB donates a total of more than $500,000 to local charities and educational foundations. Make your life easier and go bank with First Fidelity Bank. Visit ffb.com for more information.
And if you are a whiskey or bourbon drinker, stop what you're doing, head to your favorite liquor store and buy some Balcones products. You got to grab some of Balcones Lineage Single Malt Whiskey. It was just voted one of the top 20 whiskeys in the world, no big deal, by Whiskey Advocate, and you'll be shocked by how affordable it is. Also, you got to snag some of Balcones Baby Blue Corn Whiskey.
It's made from blue corn. That is the fancy corn.
And that is why it has won more than 25 awards. Last but certainly not least, you got to buy some of Balcones Pot Still Bourbon. Its big flavors make it the perfect bourbon to drink year-round. Remember, in 2012, Balcones Single Malt won the Best in Glass competition, beating brands like Johnnie Walker and Macallan, and became the first American distillery ever to win that competition. This stuff is the real deal, people. If you love great whiskey and bourbon at a great price, then Balcones products are the only way to go. The whiskey may be made in Texas, but the owners, yeah, they're from Oklahoma. To find a liquor store that has it, visit balconesdistilling.com. All right, for my winner of the week, thought about going with Pat Bowlen's children. So for those of you that don't know, Pat Bowlen was the owner of the Denver Broncos, passed away a few years ago, and he put the team in a trust, Ted. And now I am assuming that his children are the beneficiaries of said trust. So that is an assumption I am making. I don't know. I'm assuming.
Could be a surprise coming. You never know.
Yeah, but and it doesn't sound like, because he put like a group of like 3 trustees together, and they were supposed to like find an heir from, I think he's got like 7 kids, like find an heir to take over the family business. And it doesn't sound like the kids get along very well, but this could help things, help smooth things over for the Bowlen family, because they got 5 official bids from buyers to purchase the Broncos. And reportedly, the team is going to sell for over $4 billion.
Whew. Whew.
Remember, Tepper bought the Panthers for like 2.3, 2.4 a couple years back.
That's crazy.
Broncos, $4 billion.
That's got to change and I don't know, they put out pretty much every year like what the value of some of the franchises are. Like, if that's true, that's got to change like some of the top valued programs, right? Or teams, big time.
No doubt. I mean, every owner in the NFL is looking at this going, excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
That's awesome. $4 billion. It's a cash cow though, man. The NFL is absolutely slaying it right now. They've got the revenue sharing program going where everyone pays in except for Washington, I guess. And even if your attendance is down and your team is going through a rough patch, boy, that revenue distribution, that payout is big.
Yeah. But my winner of the week, Jimmy Butler. I mean, the Heat beat the Hawks Tuesday night thanks to a 45-piece from Jimmy Butler. The Heat are now up on Trae Young and the Hawks 2-0 in that series. And I know a series doesn't start until a road team wins a game. I understand that. But when you look at that game with quiet nights from Bam Adebayo and Kyle Lowry and Duncan Robinson, who had like 27 in game 1, like he barely played in this game, which was weird, but Jimmy Butler put the Miami Heat on his back. And they were up 104-101. I was watching the game here in the hotel room, and there's like 3 minutes and 15 seconds left. And it kind of felt like, hey, maybe the Heat are going to get this done. And Jimmy Butler, he just took over. I mean, he said, all right, boys, I got it. Don't worry. Had a dunk. Then he hit a really tough kind of fading to his right 3. then had a Euro step, kind of like lefty layup, and all of a sudden you looked up and they were up 10 points and the game was over. And I know it's only the first round of the playoffs, right? And this is a team that went to the finals recently, 2 years ago in the bubble. Remember, they went to the NBA finals. But I love watching big time players take over late in NBA playoff games. Like I'll be honest, I didn't think Jimmy Butler was like this type of guy. Right? Like he's a really great player, like great defender, just really good passer, just an incredible athlete. But like for him to take over like that as a scorer in a game where some of his teammates just didn't have it, right? And if you watch the first half of this game, the amount of fouls there were, it was unbelievable. But he went and took the game. And it was really fun to watch. And it also reminded me, like, it was only a couple weeks ago where Eric Spoelstra is standing up like, do you really, like, do you want me to fight you? Like, really? It just seems like now that seems just so far away because Jimmy
who
Butler,
was the center? I'm trying to remember who was the center. He won.
Udonis Haslem, who was like 40-something years old.
Haslem's like, I'm gonna beat your ass. I'm gonna beat your ass.
He's gonna use that old man strength on him. But yeah, I mean, you think about that, and then the way that the Heat look right now. Now, I don't think they're coming out of the East or anything like that, but I didn't know Jimmy Butler had this in him. Like, that was fun to watch.
Jimmy Butler's one of the guys that you watch, and he kind of wears it on his sleeve that how he feels, that he cares. He wants to win. He enjoys the fight. He enjoys the grind. I think a lot of guys, they put off the vibe, even if it's not how they feel. They put off the vibe of, this isn't big enough for me to act like it's ever got my full attention. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like my mind is somewhere else. This is just kind of, I'm out here. He is like in it, and he cares about it, and he shows it. He's fun to watch, man. He's anytime you have a guy that kind of wears his emotions, they can be fun to watch. They can also be maddening to watch at times if you're against them, but if they're on your team, it is really enjoyable.
Yeah, and he hit 4 threes. He doesn't hit threes. Like he just, I mean, someone needed to take that game over for the Heat, and he went, I got it.
Now, he really started as like a bulldog defensively, right? It's kind of how he got his feet under him in his career.
Yeah, still that story of him like forcing his way out. Oh my gosh, he's just like openly challenging everyone in practice. Like that's I love that story. But I did see this from Tyler Fulgham on Twitter. The Atlanta Hawks. And this is impossible to believe, but so I went and checked it. And yeah, it's true. They are now 0-41 against the spread in losses this season. They are 0-22 this season as an underdog. Simply a remarkable random stat.
Isn't
that insane?
Strange that you didn't hit a last second 3 in a game where you're down as an underdog to cover, or that's
against
crazy.
The spread in losses. Unreal.
That is crazy. Wow.
Yeah. All right. For my loser of the week, thought about going with the Phoenix Suns, man. Devin Booker, he drops 31 points in the first half of game 2 against the Pelicans. He daps up a baby after hitting an incredible fadeaway. And I'm like, that's like one of the coolest things I've ever seen. And honestly, I was jealous. My wife looked at me and was like, this is why I wanted to take Cam to a game this year. And I was like, I know, I get it. Yep. That totally would have happened, honey. But and it feels unfair, right? Because Booker puts on that show for all of us to watch in the first half. The crowd's going crazy. The Suns are in control of the game. And he daps up the baby. Like, you would think, man, the basketball gods, like, they got to reward this guy. And then he gets hurt on a hustle play trying to run back and like contest a shot and hurts the hammy. And the look on his face, that is where I was like, he knows something's wrong. Like, and just his demeanor on the bench, like I had pretty much sharpied the Phoenix Suns into the NBA Finals if they were to stay healthy. This is the last guy they could lose. And now all of a sudden you look at the Pelicans series and you're like, if Booker's got to miss the rest of the series, watch out now. Brandon Ingram, man. He got the Thunder that better draft pick, and he you dropped 38, 39 in game 2. So watch out now.
If they can hold on without him, it's one of the only good things about the NBA playoffs taking somewhere between 6 and 8 months is that he should be able to have plenty of time for a full hamstring. He could have hamstring surgery and be able to come back and still catch the conference finals.
I will say they played some games without him this year, and they were just fine without Devin Booker. I think the Suns without Booker are still a better team than the Pelicans, but all of a sudden what looked like was going to be, 4, maybe at most a 5-game series is now looking like maybe 6 or 7. And with how old Chris Paul is, like those extra games, those are important. Those take a toll on a guy that's getting up there in age like CP3 is. So I don't know, man, but that was such a bummer. He dapped up a baby and then got hurt. Come on, basketball gods. That's not how it's supposed to work. I also thought about going, have you watched Winning Time on HBO?
I've seen just a couple of like small portions of an episode or two. I haven't really sunk my teeth into it. I want to though. Just the small portions that I saw looked really good.
It's great. It's extremely entertaining, but Jerry West hates it. The logo is not happy. I mean, he's not happy at all. And I understand why he's not happy, because they basically have portrayed him as a belligerent, angry alcoholic in the show.
What's the big deal with that? What's the problem?
And remember, this is one of the most respected players and executives in the history of the NBA. And according to ESPN, the logo, Jerry West, for those of you that don't know, Jerry West is the NBA logo. His legal team sent HBO and Winning Time a letter asking for a retraction and an apology. They also, I believe, are going to seek some compensation for damages. And the show is based off a book. And I guess there's just a bunch of, I haven't read the book, so I can't really speak on it. I just kind of repeating what I read, but I guess there's a bunch of stuff in the show that didn't happen and certainly is not in the book that the show is based off. So yeah, I think HBO is going to have to, they're going to have to pay Jerry West a little bit, because he's big mad, Ted, big mad.
Yeah. Hey, I understand that you want to liven things up for television a little bit. I think that's probably a pretty normal thing to do, but you got to think about the person that you're trying to liven up for the story a little bit here, or in this case, not liven up, but turn into a bad person or something. Like, that's
a guy that's like drinking in his office and at practice.
Yeah, that's a pretty important guy. I think that decision at HBO was probably not made by sports people.
Yeah, and there's a bunch of former players and like guys that were in the front office with Jerry West for that run with the Lakers that are like sending letters. This one guy named Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. It's like they're all be like, "What? None of this happened. Like, why'd you do this?" So, kind of a sticky situation. I will say this: very entertaining show, though. But my loser of the week, the San Francisco 49ers. Because they've got a Deebo Samuel problem, apparently. Now, remember, Deebo Samuel was the 2nd-round pick, right? So you don't have the 5th-year option for 2nd-rounders. That's only 1st-rounders in the NFL draft. Now, clearly, you redo that draft, Deebo Samuel should have been one of the top picks. Like, that's hindsight. But he's heading into the last year of his rookie deal, and he's seeing all these receivers get just ridiculous money, right? Devontae Adams with the Raiders, Tyreek Hill with the Dolphins. Hell, even Christian Kirk, right? He got paid, and maybe that's what pushed Deebo Samuel over the edge. But the price for top wide receivers in the NFL has, I mean, it's just skyrocketed. And there's no doubt Deebo Samuel is one of those guys. He's arguably the most explosive player in the NFL, right? With this size, speed, the versatility. Like, you would assume, hey, the price is the price for a guy like that. Well, Adam Schefter reported that Deebo Samuel has put a halt to everything for now when it comes to contract negotiations with the 49ers. And then there's some other reports out there that he just wants to move on from San Francisco. So he isn't showing up to the offseason program. He took all the 49ers stuff off his social media pages, which I think it's been established now. That means something in today's NFL. I don't know if this ends up all getting worked out, and, you know, it ends up not being that big of a deal. But you look at, this is a guy that had over 300 yards rushing last year, had over 1,400 yards receiving last year, scored 14 total touchdowns. I mean, maybe the most versatile offensive piece in the National Football League. You can't lose a guy like this if you're San Francisco. What is happening? What went wrong?
Money. That's it. He feels disrespected, I'm guessing, by whatever contract extension conversation they've had or haven't had, maybe. Yeah, dude, it's the numbers being thrown at wide receivers are crazy. And he's really one of a kind in the NFL. Like, he's physically strong and fast and just like a dominating type of presence physically. Like, you don't typically see that at wide receiver. And you mentioned, look, give him the ball out of the backfield, and
he had 8 rushing touchdowns last year.
Yeah, and almost all of them were just like, wow, type of runs. And, you know, the offensive coordinator's gone. Maybe that has something to do with it. Like, he doesn't feel like he's going to be used the same way or properly. I don't know, but my guess is in the end, the 49ers are going to break out the checkbook. You really got no other option, right?
Right. I've got a couple of, they're not really conspiracy theories, but I've got 2 things that kind of popped into my head. Number one, he saw Devontae Adams and Tyreek Hill's deals, right?
Mm-hmm.
What do those 2 organizations have in common? There is no state income tax in Florida, and there's no state income tax in Nevada. And so maybe he saw a chart of like actual take-home pay, and he was like, dude, I got to get out of California. I got to get out of here.
California has like the highest state income tax in the country, doesn't it? It's one
insane.
Of the highest. They have the millionaire tax there as well. And I'm sure, like, I don't know what the San Francisco area is like, but some places add like municipality taxes as well. And if that's the case, I can't blame him. You want to keep right off of the top 10% more of your money when you're talking about $80, $100 million, that's substantial.
Right. So maybe he saw that and he was like, yeah, I think I'm going to force my way out of here. It can't get worse. Which, hey, maybe I know some people don't like to think that it's all about money for NFL guys, but like that's some serious cash that he's just going to be cutting a check to the government for instead of keeping. So yeah, that is a factor. And then the second thing, Jimmy G had the offseason surgery. I think it's pretty clear that, you know, the 49ers intend to move him this offseason. I wonder if this is Deebo Samuel going, hey man, Trey Lance sucks. I can't do it. Like, I can't do this. That may be an unfair assumption, but when I saw this, that was one of the things I was like, man, what does this say about Trey Lance. Like,
Right.
I don't know. Cause if you're a star wide receiver like Deebo Samuel is, and that he is, you mentioned it, like he may be my, like on Sunday when I'm watching Red Zone, like I want to see every Deebo Samuel snap. I want to see all of his touches because he's just so explosive and entertaining to watch. Like he's fantastic. If he doesn't feel like there's going to be a quarterback there that can get him the damn ball, yeah, that'd be a reason to be like, not signing an extension, trade me. So,
And you may
yeah,
not like just another thing. They may not like each other. They may bump heads. You never know what happens in a locker room. Not everyone gets along. And if there's a guy that you bump heads with that's about to be the starting quarterback, well, that's not a good guy to bump heads with. And you can go keep 10% of your money more somewhere else. Yeah, let's do that.
yeah, but not great. Shanahan's got to be so pissed.
Yeah, they had it rolling, and things are changing for the 49ers.
Yep.